Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm your host, Ian Carlos Crawford, and joining me today, my co-host is author of Surrender Your Sons,
Adam Sass.
Hi, Adam.
Hello. Well, we have got two super faves with us today. First up, senior culture reporter at Vox,
Alex Abad Santos.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Hello. And then last but not least, we have got senior gaming editor at Input,
Ryan Houlihan.
Hey, Ryan. Oh, look at these group of faves. I love everybody here.
Yeah. The thing I really liked about these Marvel episodes, Adam, is I feel like it's like a nice rotating group of like favorites coming in and out of them.
It is. And because, I don't know, like, I feel like Buffy's more of a commitment, and I feel like these Marvel shows are like little, like, you know, they're kind of shorter little morsels, and we get to like kind of, it's less about like, this is what it meant to me as a little gay baby. And this is more like, here's what this means to me as a fucking queer person who's just really crusted and hard to reach right now.
Faggoty old woman.
Here's a impress me budget. Yeah.
So we're here to talk about episode 4 of Loki. I'm gonna go with what were your thoughts after watching the episode at first, Alex?
So much. Well, it's like, I think there's the episode and then there's that post-credit scene and you're just like, oh my gosh.
This was like on kind of like a little bit of a like Watchmen level of like, wait, what the fuck is that? What is that? No, what's happening? Oh, like, and then it's gone.
So much happened.
A lot of
pruning.
A lot of pruning, almost to the point where I'm like, is pruning really mean bye-bye? Because a lot of people got pruned in this episode.
It was very... while watching it, I was like, oh, twist, 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 twist. Like, I was having a good time, but then at the end I was like, did RuPaul write this? Because it's very Wizard of Oz and a little heavy-handed with the like, guards with their sticks. And then you know, there's a robot and they go over the rainbow to like destroy New York or whatever. Like, I was like, this is I'm getting like very heavy-handed. But I was thoroughly entertained, and I love that Marvel found a way to do incest, but not like with yourself, but not gay. You could do incest with yourself, but it's not gay.
It was a little like, oh no, all the fireworks exploded over at the Genre Factory. There was like many tones.
I will say I liked the episode. I was glad. I liked episode 3, but I felt like it slowed it down so much. That I was like, what's the plot here? Like, what's the plot of this show? And this episode kind of like...
Well, I mean... we'll get to this, but like, I was a little bit more like, those first 3 episodes could have used a little, like, you could have fed this mega episode that like really was like beat, another beat, a little bit more across those other 3, which was a little more slow burn. So.
But it's definitely comic booky. I mean, in the sense that there's a self-contained issue, and then there's one where it's just like, we're going to kill half the cast and reshuffle some stuff, and we'll see you after.
Yes.
Which I enjoy. And I do think that, as my boss Josh said, Loki is the most comic book thing to come out of Marvel yet, which I do agree with, and I very much enjoy. And I do think the idea that like, you know, that Miss Minutes is now in the rogues gallery of people that I suspect or whatever. Like, that's fun. I'm having fun with that. I'm not going to go full Mephisto as we did during WandaVision. I am going to have a little fun with being like, this little old-timey sassy like cartoon character, maybe she's really evil. Like, that's fun. We're having fun.
I mean, any like kind of like, you know, like little white lady southern voice is immediately sinister, so you're just like, like, I immediately like, okay, what are you gonna do to people? You're doing something to
Andy McDowell, she's back again.
I still have PTSD from WandaVision and all the fanboys being like, did you see on the wallpaper it's shaped like the devil, and it's definitely the devil is coming, and that means Mephisto is here. And I was just like, I think it's just wallpaper. Guys, isn't it just wallpaper?
Yeah, there definitely is a level of tinfoil hatting that I don't want to do when it comes to this show. And yet they continue to tempt, don't they?
They do. They do.
But I will say, I also enjoyed the fact that this episode, at least for me, made it felt like everything's on track. Like, I feel like, okay, there was a point to everything. The last couple episodes, like the first episode, I was like, all right, we're going into a locked in. I know the stakes. They're setting up a whole new world. They're making their own little genre of sci-fi fantasy or whatever. The last two episodes, I was like, do they know where they're going, or are we just going to go like bumble into a whole bunch of different Lokis? And it seems like a mix of both, which I'm fine with, totally fine with. But I think that the events of this episode and then the mid-credits ending, which we will get to, made me think that there is a very good plan, which I like, because certainly the captain and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was very there was a plan, but that was it. There was like this is where we are. This is where we're going to get. We're going to go through a series of events, which will result in this, and we don't really care about having any fun along the way. So a little WandaVision. Oh, you got a little WandaVision in my Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No, you got a little Falcon and the Winter Soldier in my WandaVision. It's delicious. Like, that's great. I like that, and I felt that from this episode. Yeah. So I will say I walked away a satisfied Disney Plus subscriber.
Yeah,
for sure.
I liked the episode. I know people, and I said this in the last episode too, and people keep saying it on Twitter too. This especially felt Doctor Who. Like, I know I saw so many people say it, and you said it too, Ryan, Wizard of Oz. It felt like both. It felt like a combination of Doctor Who and Wizard of Oz with like a Disney budget. But I mean, I say that in the best way because I really enjoyed it. I was a hard sell on Sylvie. I will say I was a hard sell on her. By this episode, I'm like, no, I like her a lot. I like her.
I love her. I want her to stick around. If there is something where she is only in the Loki series and we never see her again, I'm going to be furious.
It's funny because they've already announced a Mobius and Sylvie action figures, which is wild because there's no Agatha. And I'm like, that's homophobic.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the only WandaVision are White Vision and Wanda in her final outfit. And I'm like, give me them in their sitcom outfits. That's cute.
Catherine Hahn's not even Jewish. Anti-Semitism. That's what that is.
This is anti-witch caftan. She's not wearing like a Black Widow-esque suit.
Right.
And she's a woman, so gotta go. Gotta have no fit. Yeah, you can't just have like her in like her hag rags.
Well, so yeah, but this episode I was sold on her. I don't love the like weird romance.
I was going to ask if you like it.
For me, gal.
Are you a Silky fan or are you like?
I'm not. Okay, so I will say my coworker Ryan, who is a delight and is so nice to me, and has in the past few weeks cleaned up vomit and pee because I will not do it.
The opposite of this, Ryan.
Yes. He told me that his partner has like a theory that it wasn't really love, and you'll find out that it was just kind of Loki learning to like love himself, and that's why he liked her. And I love that theory, and I hope that's it, because I don't want them to kiss.
Do you really think Loki has a problem loving himself, though?
Well, like, because he's always looking to be right. You know what I mean? He's always.
Did RuPaul write this? Is this about Loki's inner saboteur?
What would you say to little Sylvie?
Because like Loki's always looking for like acceptance.
Now, little Sylvie. Sylvie.
If you watch the show, Ian, you'd be able to join in the fun.
I have nothing to add to this because I don't watch Drag Race. But I just mean like I think it's more like the way he's always like, oh look, he's almost like me, where he's always looking for validation, and maybe he'll like learn that he doesn't need to be looking for validation and like that kind of shit.
Right.
Well, I did love that when Mobius said to him, okay, so you want to rule, to what end? And he was like, to rule. Like he's like, I didn't really think about that. And I do like the idea of him having a larger idea and philosophy and purpose for himself, because certainly I think we can all relate to growing up being like, well, I'm going to become a very famous TV showrunner, and that's the end of my theory. And it's like, well, what are you going to do with it? What do you stand for? What do you want to do with your life? What do you want your legacy to be? Like, there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And I think Loki's always had an Arrested Development. and always been sort of like the gender fluid, gay, arrested development, delayed adolescence person. And I think it's good for him to find some purpose beyond quote unquote like mischief or like rule the universe. Like, come on, you know, you've got seemingly infinite amount of time and superpowers. Like, let's get a philosophy going here. I mean, you need one to be good, right? Like, to be a good guy. Oh, every single one of the good guys has a philosophy that you're like, all right, with great power comes great responsibility. Or like, I don't know, Captain America's this a mix between democracy and fascism. And then you've got, you know, I mean, everyone's got something. They've all got like a creed or whatever. I think for Loki to be a good guy, he needs a reason to care, and maybe finding like within himself something to like might give him something to like about the world. You can't love yourself. You can't love somebody else. Whatever, RuPaul.
Back to RuPaul again. Okay. Anyway, so the episode starts. So we'll start with the episode. I actually was like, oh shit, when they showed like little baby Sylvie, I felt bad. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And like I like that we got a little bit of like, what bothered me in episode 3 was that we got more of Loki and not Sylvie. And it's like, okay, but this is the character we don't know. I want like her backstory. I want to know like what her shit was. And we still don't really know. And I don't know if it matters, right? Like Ravonna is the one that kidnapped her. And when they're in that elevator, Ravonna, it's like the Thanos and Wanda, but it's Ravonna and Sylvie where she's like, what did I do? And she's like, I don't even remember you. Which I can't tell if that's going to be a mystery or that's like, they're leaving it at that because like it doesn't matter and the TVA is like a terrible like place, right?
I mean, they're fascist, right? Like they literally said step on a leaf and they'll know.
I feel like Ravonna, besides doing not really a 180 this episode, because I guess this was sort of always there, but she really villain reveal in this episode. I don't know. I feel like I'm skipping ahead, but just like I think because like everything that at the beginning of episode 1, if you were like, okay, where's the show ending? What's the last episode going to be? You'd be like, they confront the timekeepers and there's some twists and there's this, that. And like, so we got there in episode 4. So I'm a little more like, definitely now I'm like, wow, I don't even know what 5 and 6 are going to be. So I think we're definitely going to have to learn a little bit more about Ravonna in episode 5, especially because like it's kind of last person standing. And in the opening of the show, there was such a dramatic emphasis. It was as much Ravonna's backstory as it was a flashback to Sylvie, because it was like it ended with like Ravonna having, you know, looking kind of stricken, kind of entering the timekeeper space, like kind of fearful. So we know it's not nothing. Like we know she's got some emotion based in here. She's not just like a person who enjoys hurting people.
I wonder though, because the show has emphasized both within the show and then also in every single trailer they have ever released that good guys can be bad guys and bad guys can be good guys, etc. I understand we've done this switch where we're like, the TVA is here to protect you. Just kidding. They're here to protect themselves. I wonder if we're going to get another one where it's like, it's not that they had bad intentions, but they had intentions and you're just chaos. So like, you know, what are your intentions sort of a thing? Because like, the TVA clearly exists for a purpose, and Ravonna clearly knows what that purpose is. And if you take a child while they're playing with toys from their home, you're obviously the bad guy. But will we get another switch with that, where it's like, I'm not that bad of a person, I just have like a goal for power or whatever, which Loki will be like, well, that's not good enough, and then realize, oh, full circle, that's what I was doing.
Right.
And do we think we get what we didn't get in the other shows, which is like a setup for the big multiverse bad? Like, are we gonna get like a world-eating monster, or are we just gonna get like a Ravonna was up to some mischief with Miss Minutes, and then like we don't really get like because this has to have world-bending consequences, right? Like like the snap.
Right. Well, Ravonna didn't, you know, invent a bunch of androids.
Right.
To like have a conversation with. So someone else is doing that. And then you've also kind of got this thing where I think for a lot of the TVA folks, especially probably Ravonna, it's not so much like I'm taking a little girl out of the house. I think a lot of the TVA people go into this sort of dissociation space where they're like, these variants aren't people. Like it
not to get too real world. It's very much like ICE, where they're like, "Well, it's a job."
Like, well, these aren't people. I mean, like, I wouldn't do this to a person. This is not a person.
Yeah.
Then it kind of, once you kind of make that leap, she can, kind of order Owen Wilson like kind of zapped out of there after like seeming to care so much about him, and it literally, like, without blinking, just says, "Get rid of him."
Well, is Ravonna a variant, or is Ravonna believe that she is not a variant, and so she has a disregard for all the employees under her, and she took like a light liking to Mobius, and then learned her lesson about variants or whatever?
Right. I actually think it could be that. I feel like Ravonna is like the in charge of like the people working at the TVA, but then clearly there's someone in charge of that who's like in charge of all the like fake shit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna find out that like Ravonna is a variant, kind of knows it, but also more importantly, I think unlike these other variants who are like really tapping back into their former selves, I think she's seeing the big picture. I think she has seen something. She kind of knows what will happen if the sacred timeline splits. And I think she's putting that ahead of her own personhood and ahead of anybody else that she works with.
So she really believes the cause.
I think she does, yeah.
She's like, we have to get rid of X, Y, and Z to protect X, Y, and Z, but without realizing, like, okay, but you just kidnapped a child. So, like, clearly there's been a disconnect in your ethics.
That also brings up a point that I've been thinking about. So at the end of episode 2, we saw Sylvie's, like, plan, right? Like, Loki was like, oh, you're going to blow this place up. And it was like, nope, she's going to blow up all the timelines. And it happened. And we just haven't gone back to that.
Well, I think they must have stopped it. I wish that I don't think it hit the red line, or that red line stuff is bullshit or something.
Because it seemed like they were like, sending out the guards. Everyone was like at, red alert and blah, blah, blah. And then we just like didn't go back to it. And I keep wondering, because in my brain, when that happened, I was like, okay, so is that it? Is that Doctor Strange in the multiverse? Did that is that like the lead-in right there? And I feel like I need a little like clearer like message as to what happened there.
Well, I think, the thing that was going on screen while that happened was, Loki and Sylvie, just deciding that they like each other, or coming to some kind of conclusion, and that will set them on a path that will eventually lead to shattering all the multiverses, which I think might be the finale of the show, where they're like, the walls have come down, like, like portals can open between worlds, and then you've got, that's where the real fun starts, and you want to start charging that Disney Plus premium access money for the footage.
But Alex, what do you think? Do you think that was like it within the context of the show, they like cleared that up, or like that is still going on with those branches?
I mean, I feel like they will spell it out. It is very Disney. It is very Marvel for them to spell things out for you eventually and tell you how everything works. I think. I don't know. I don't think that the crisis doesn't seem to be that like urgent in a way.
Yeah.
And I think it would be if it were. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's going to be something with the Nexus event, and obviously the Nexus event ties into WandaVision's Nexus event, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm still trying to. I am very that meme of Always Sunny and like the conspiracy theory and like all the red lines connecting. That is very me in my head. But I'm like, yeah, it'll all figure out. Like, it's never going to be. I always feel like with Marvel stuff, it's never going to be as complicated as I make it in my head. So I have faith that they're going to knock it out and just be like, okay, well, this happened, and it's not going to be as big as I probably imagined it to be. But yes.
That's
so do
fair.
We think like episode 5 is going to really like kind of rock our world?
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be something with, they wouldn't tease like the Nexus event of them meeting together and getting back together. So I'm sure something will happen with that. which will lead us into Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness.
Woo! I hope this season ends with like a teaser for this shit, because I'm just like so ready to, even if it's just like a shot of her just being like, I'm on the or some shit. Like it better just, I feel like I'm ready for that kind of tease. And also I'm interested because we've had so many of these like kind of post Endgame, or I guess I keep forgetting about Far From Home, but like post that, we have gone really super small, and like bite size and all that. Like, so I'm just wondering, like, kind of like once we get to Black Widow and Seven Rings, no, not Seven Rings, 10 Rings,
Ring and Keys.
Once we get to Ariana's next album, we will get like these sort of bigger. I'm wondering like how those big movies are going to feel after all of these like sort of episodic.
Slight spoiler: Black Widow is also very low stakes, small. It's a very small story. Right. So,
well, we also kind of like know where it's like. It's not like, oh, she died, and then that was.
How did that film Marie Antoinette end? So I've been thinking I mean, I've talked on the show before about the Marvel had to deal with the problem of superinflation, where they were just like, now it's the whole universe, and it's like, all right, well, where do we go from there? Okay, I guess the multiverse. But I also we have to take into consideration that like even their bigger movies, they have to leave themselves a lot of runway to go. So like, as much as I want this to end with like, portals opening up all over the place, we've got 6 Spider-Men. Like, I would love to just end on some complete chaos and then let them clean it up in the movies. I know for a fact that they're not going to do that because they want to leave themselves the runway to tell a full story within each film that isn't like an Endgame crossover event. So they have to give themselves some, like, Doctor Strange has to have some setup or something that, things are normal before they go back.
But No Way Home is going to deal with this, most likely. I mean, so it's
you know what? That's true. And that comes out first, doesn't it?
And Strange is in that. So I feel like you're going to get something where it could be like how when Infinity War happened and then they had Ant-Man and the Wasp, like it was like happening at the same time. So I feel like it'll be multiverse chaos, and then it'll be we'll get to Shang-Chi, and it'll be like it'll be like kind of regular movie, and then like the end credits of Shang-Chi will be like those characters experiencing like a
whatever big
split. Right, a timeline split.
Yeah, great. I think Love also this is mostly like they're trying to poke holes in the whole idea of like the central timeline that they introduced in Endgame, right? Like they're trying to be like, well, there's actually so much more possibility than just fixing everything by going back in time into that one moment right before you took the Infinity Stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's going to be a lot of tinkering and a lot of fun stuff that happens and wrinkles, and I think that's mainly what I think Loki is doing. But that's just my guess. I'm not quite sure.
Do you think maybe that there is no sacred timeline? Is that a lie? Like,
definitely a lie. There's a timeline that someone chose because it is their preferred version of events going forward, and they're pruning everything else. So if there's a timeline that ends with me being, in charge of the universe and the multiverse, and I get to consume them and become them, like whatever, ultimate power, you're going to be like, even if it's a needle in a haystack, you're going to be like, well, fuck the whole haystack. Right. I'll go one by one. Which totally tracks as a villain motive. I just don't know like who it is, and I don't love the idea of bringing in a completely unstoppable galactic size force at the end of this series, which was more contained and character driven, because that plus time travel plus multiple dimensions, it takes away from what we're actually doing here. Like we've even in this discussion, we've barely discussed what's happened in the episodes themselves, and I don't like that feeling of, while I'm watching the show, wondering about a whole bunch of other stuff. I want to like focus on what's happening in these characters and the setting that they're in and the beautiful sets they've constructed and in Adobe's suite of products. I think I don't that is an aspect of the show that I don't love. I've been having a lot of fun, but I do think that like Disney needing to create a bunch of opportunities for itself down the road also necessitates, by the design of the show and us knowing that we're going to spend the whole time speculating, which the point of the show, I guess that's tied into the themes, right? Because there's all this pruning of what we would have speculated. But I don't know. It takes away from it. I hope next week that they really bring our focus on the here and now by being like, we're all cast off Lokis and like there's no way back, but we can help the world in some way. And it makes that self-contained story have stakes again. Because also now that we know that there's some like recycle bin universe where they're all getting thrown instead of being pruned. I'm going completely out of order. Who gives a shit? It's Loki. That's the point. If that's true, then there hasn't been many stakes so far, which I don't love because we've been at multiple apocalypses where there should be, right? Like, I don't like the removal of like, oh, we could just fix it because we have time powers and time is all power. Like, there should be a limit at some degree. There should be like a real kind of permadeath or like a real kind of loss. And hopefully the next episode establishes that like,
I mean, don't you think the whole idea of like all these versions of you never allowed to be like the best versions of yourself to exist is kind of sad? And like that is its own stake. Like there's this whole world that exists of like someone who just decided you weren't the best version of whatever you could be. Like I feel like that's very depressing and kind of sad and very emotional about like Loki.
Deleting all these like flop versions of you.
my flop eras, all my multiple flop eras.
Wait, this is what Beyonce's been doing.
She's
I'm
like
just joking. The flop dimension.
But so, okay, I know we're detouring from this episode. We've detoured a lot. Did all of you see that Disney Plus changed the end credit scene of WandaVision?
I saw that they did, what? But I didn't look into the issue itself, so please explain.
Okay. So, like, last week, Adam, on, like, Thursday, they changed that end credit scene, the, like, final scene of Wanda in the cabin, but, like, very weirdly. I totally thought it was bullshit, because it was... So, like, I know Facebook's a nightmare, yes, but I do have Facebook, and all of my Facebook target ads are always, like, dumb fucking Marvel articles from, like, no-name sites that like don't even end in .com.
Right.
And I kept seeing ones that were like, WTF, the WandaVision ending change. And I'm like, well, this is bullshit. Not like, but I saw it so many times.
Okay, like I'm so nervous. What happened? Like,
and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna click on this. It's so weird because it's barely changed, but what they changed was the layout of the trees. Like the lake is different, but it's still that same scene. And then there's a silhouette that really just looks like they did a cut and paste of an outline of a man with a cape. They made it kind of see-through, and it's coming down the hill behind the cabin. That's it. That's all they changed. They changed the layout of the trees and the lake, and then there's like a weird silhouette that's see-through, and it looks so bad, and I don't understand. Like, it could be Vision, it could be Doctor Strange, it's probably supposed to be Doctor Strange, but it looks terrible. And it just is like not moving. It almost looks like they're dragging a little piece of paper across the screen.
Marvel's Zapruder film.
They need to get their filthy fingerprints off this good show. Like I'm like this fucking like
it's just so weird.
I don't like that. Like I
watched a YouTube video that was like comparing them because I went like bonkers once I was like, wait, this is true. And I found a YouTube video that is like comparing the two, and the changes are so weird and like minimal, but like why?
Well, because they finished filming Multiverse of Madness and they wanted the sets to match. That's
what I was gonna say. That's exactly what almost all the theories were like. The reason they changed those like just trees and lake, that's because you probably see this scene in Multiverse, and they needed it to look exactly like it looked in Multiverse of Madness.
Right, because it's going to be like a Back to the Future 2 thing where like he's going to right away just going to be like, Wanda, you got to come with me. We got to go to the Multiverse. And it's Elizabeth
But that's weird,
Shue.
right?
You're right. Yeah.
Alex, did you hear about that?
I did. I didn't check it out though. Because I also was just like, please don't fuck this up.
But wouldn't you have thought it was? I just thought it was bullshit. I was like, oh, people are being like, the same thing like with Mephisto in the wallpaper. But like, this is real. They
everyone was kissing and moaning that Doctor Strange didn't show up like they said he was gonna. Like, I'm upset. I mean,
and the problem is they open their mouths too much about what should and was gonna and all that.
Oh, don't be doing that. Don't be doing that.
Just like, let it be. Don't tell me what
is evil. Hype is the poison for anything. You want a tiny little bit towards the end of creating whatever you're creating, and that's it. You do not want, like, they bring a lot of attention to this stuff that, like, that's why I'm like, Multiverse of Madness is such a great title, but also like, well, now that's all I'm going to think
about. They gotcha. But okay, so going back to the episode, God, we're only like 5 minutes into this episode. So like we cut back to Sylvie and Loki, and this was the scene in the trailer that everyone kept thinking was Loki and Black Widow, because it does look like that planet where Thanos throws Gamora off the edge and Black Widow jumps.
Or it looks exactly like they just put women in the same fucking black cat suit and the same fucking wig with different color in it.
Also that.
Or that also, yeah.
I liked the scenes of them here. I kind of liked them just like accepting death, right? I mean, at that point, there's nothing they can do. So it's just kind of like, well, we're going to die. And I kind of liked, that was like my favorite conversation they had, where they're just kind of like I think she says like, do you think, I wrote it down. Do you think what makes a Loki is that we're destined to lose? And he says, no, we don't die, we survive. And then they like hold hands. And I still, even when they held hands, I just read it as like, these are friends that are about to experience the end of the world. Sure, hold hands, right? Like, why not? I didn't think it was like romantic. I thought it was just like, oh, they are friends. They're going to hold hands while this planet explodes and they die. But then that caused this like power spike, right? Or whatever.
Well, I mean, we also got like the part with Sif being like, you cut my hair, like you'll always be alone, you're alone, you'll always be alone, you belong to be alone. But like Loki was alone with themselves in a way, right. So like maybe this is a good, like maybe ultimately what we're building towards is that like you are all possibilities, you are all versions of yourself, even the crocodile one, who I'm very intrigued by.
You would be curious about that one.
Don't make out to everyone that I'm a furry. Confirm to them that. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I so what it
you're not
was it
not a furry.
For curious.
Was it that like them holding hands was going to lead to a Nexus event? Like that's what it was, right?
Yeah, I think if they fuck, that they'll have, I mean, they would have a Nexus baby, right? Like that baby would have like Wanda at the end of WandaVision. That's how it would come out.
And also because it's self-cessed, it would maybe have an extra arm or two, right?
Like we can only hope. Think of the spells you could cast with 3 arms.
That's what it's called, Adam.
So I'm going to say something that's really unpopular. I don't like the immediate softening of both of them. What I like about Loki is that there's like an actual demolition. There's such a fucking desire to like soften these characters, to be like, no, they're really, really good, and they're just really lonely, and they're just really this, and they're really that, and they really like, they kind of like cock an eyebrow from time to time. And
well, I think we might get a Loki Loki Reloaded, where Loki has become all soft, but then realizes like, oh, I was soft for myself. It's okay to be soft on yourself, right. But I'm gonna stay as hard as I was on everyone else. And I hope, because yes, who is Loki if not?
Like I was hoping for more sociopathy. Like I was hoping for like
Adam.
Sylvie being like Charlize in Young Adult, like kind of just like literally, because there's like, I don't care, but that's because I really care so much. And then there's like actually doesn't care, and I was really hoping it was more that.
We need to talk about Young Adult because we have very different opinions on that
character. Okay. Yeah, Alex, what do you think?
About?
I don't know anything. I feel like we're all talking over you.
No, I mean, I'm enjoying, like, I really like the weird them-cessed. Self-cessed? Yes, I think.
Did I teach you all that term, really?
Maybe. I don't know. Like,
if Loki doesn't fuck Loki's own self when presented the opportunity, I don't believe that to be Loki. That's what I'll say.
But like the whole thing with her isn't the speculation from the comic books that she's not actually like a Loki and that she is the Enchantress and that she has magic and basically could be a reveal that she's been playing them all along.
Adam, you would like that reveal, right?
I would like someone here. That's why I'm like kind of like, good, Ravonna, toughen up. Like everybody softened.
In this episode. Kill people, do it.
Like, B-15, soften B-15. Yeah, like everybody got soft.
B-15 just wanted to know what her life was like.
Yeah. And we didn't even get to see it. She like closed her eyes and I was like, all right, flashback. And I was like, oh, we're just didn't shoot that part.
Because I don't want to spoil it for you. She worked at Target and she had a knitting hobby. She was very deep into Law and Order SVU.
Listen, she won every game.
They just didn't film that scene.
We didn't film it. She won every game of Seen It with her friends. She was happy.
She's on Candy Crush levels you can't even pronounce, baby.
She loves the Cheesecake Factory.
She had a very good time like writing Loki like fan fiction. So like she's very
I mean,
she took up journaling during the quarantine and like quit on day 8, but she's glad she tried it.
She got a like on a tweet from a celebrity that she added in the tweet, and she was very happy.
That became an Instagram post. The like,
what is life? That was her. Yeah.
So anyway, the TVA knows where they are because they hold hands. They get them right away.
Oh, so wait. So did they ever explain like why they needed them alive? Why didn't they just let them die on that planet?
That's what we don't know, right? That's what like we're not. Because even Mobius kind of like, he's hinting at like, wait, why are these two so special? Like, that's kind of what he asks. I just said axe. My Jersey accent's coming out. You're all getting me worked up. That's kind of what he asks Ravonna later on, right? And she just won't answer.
Well, she does like, the worst dodge of all time, which I actually didn't like. I thought there was a better dodge in there. But she's like, well, they were so dangerous. And it's like, well, then you should have let them die. Like, you're not answering the question, bitch.
Yeah, like, then kill them. Yes, then leave them there.
Well, because Owen Wilson gets zapped out of the way, like, immediately. And they're like, all right, this one, come with us. Like, it's like, well, okay, why aren't you...
Well, so we'll get there. Never mind.
He just wanted a jet ski. And
he just wanted a jet ski.
I will
show better end with that man on a jet ski.
I will say, when you said that you were going to do this episode, I panicked and went to the Loki subreddit. There's nothing of value there, but there were dozens of pictures of Owen Wilson on a jet ski.
I will say, I never understood like the Owen Wilson appeal, and I totally understand it in this show.
Oh, really?
Like, oh, I get it. I get like the dopiness now, and
he's the kind of guy you want to have pillow talk with because it would just be so weird. You know what I mean?
Well, he's that straight guy at work that you're friends with, who isn't queer in any way and isn't romantically into you, but like is just so kind to you that you're just
fucks
like
you up.
That you're like I'm developed. I don't know. I don't know if these are feelings or not. Well, whatever this is, but I am glad you're in my life.
See, then I go on to thoroughly resent that person for the rest of my life because I'm like, you got my hopes up.
And you're like, wait, I want to create a Nexus event with this man.
At this point in my life, I want to create a Nexus event with everyone.
But excuse you guys, let's talk about that on the Patreon. All right, keep it clean for the kids here.
All right, that's for my nudie. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I will say that the Loki Mobius stuff here kind of bothered me only because I was like, all right, but everyone's lying. Like I was at the top of episode 3, I was getting annoyed at Sylvie and Loki's back and forth where I'm like, but you just need to work together. We know this plot wise. The audience knows this. You two kind of know this. So just work together. And I felt that way about Mobius and Loki for like this like 10-minute stretch of like, he's interrogating him. And I'm like, why isn't Loki just saying you're all variants? Rather than just being like cryptic and telling more lies. I mean, eventually he gets there.
I keep trying to remember that this is a Loki that did not experience Ragnarok or any of those events. So this Loki is still playing cards close to the chest and being like, Uno. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, Loki plays a very sly game of Uno. This is, and I keep trying to remember that we're not seeing Loki Prime that we're used to. So I think a lot of the softness that you're like bucking against a little bit, I think maybe it's because we know that that this isn't main Loki, that we can play with a softer Loki or Loki who learned a lesson, or you know what I mean? Like, because that's not where we don't have to deal with the consequences of that after. But I haven't heard enough about Croc Loki, if that's true, because you wasted how many episodes and there's a crocodile and you didn't tell me anything.
Right.
I have to know.
Do you know I didn't even notice that crocodile till I looked at... So every episode I tell, like, Brett White writes really good articles that, like, it's like 5 things you missed. I don't know how I didn't fucking realize. I thought, like, I saw the crocodile, but I didn't realize it had a little Loki. I thought it was Kid Loki's pet. Like, I didn't realize it had a little Loki crown on it.
It's from the universe of nothing but shrimp.
He has a blast in that universe. He's very well fed. But yeah, so the Mobius and Loki stuff, I just was like, come on, stop doing this. Like, that was just like bothering me. I don't know.
Well, it is annoying when you can see where the show's going and the characters can kind of see where they have to go, and we're still going to do a little dance here. Like, we only have 6 episodes. Let's go.
Right. Yes. I think that's
a throwback to like sort of the worst of Lost, where it was just like, just say the thing that you need to just talk and then
or
move
Friends
on.
Episodes where there's like a misunderstanding and you're like, Phoebe, I need you to turn to Ross and just tell him what she said.
Exactly.
Adam, the Lost comparison though, yeah, like when it's like, okay, but no one's saying what just happened. 5 people died. You found out there was a polar bear and no one's telling anyone. Why not?
Well, because like someone would ask a very important question, like literally this was straight out of the Lost playbook, where someone would ask a very important and very pertinent question. And then some character would just kind of shrug and go, does it matter? And it'd be like, well, that's why we're watching the show.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want to answer it in this episode.
It's like, yeah, just call us assholes for watching.
I hate that. I hate that like, does it matter smugness. It's
hated it.
Yes.
Mattered to me because I paid my fucking $10.99 or whatever.
Like, we're all here watching it at 6 a.m. so some goddamn gay guy doesn't fucking ruin it again.
When we get to the end, I have a really good... the end was spoiled for me in a hilarious way. But okay, so then Mobius, it's like he puts... What is it? A time loop. He puts Loki in that time loop. I thought it was nice to see Sif. I was like, oh, this is the kind of comic book shit I like.
Yes.
That I do like that Disney Plus seems to be doing with the shows. Where like characters like that can just like breeze in.
Stuff. I want to see Amy the Rat every fucking week.
Right? Like I this is a thing that I'm really glad they're like, oh, we can do this now. Like, oh yeah, we can have Kat Dennings and Jimmy Woo just like coming into WandaVision, even though they've never interacted with her, because you know who they are. Like, that's shit I like.
It feels like a world where things happen and that they have consequences and people live in, and which for a little while Marvel did not feel like. It felt very, the movies felt very like, well, this cataclysmic world event happened and now we're back at Peter Parker's high school where nobody's talking about it. Like, I like that that there's a staticness. To everything. And so even the stupid time loop version, I was like, this is great. I want to hang out with this little time loop who's pissed off Seth.
Right? I was like, give me more of this. Like, give me more.
Also, if you have time powers, I also would like to say, if you have ultimate time powers, the writers of the show, if we don't get some more shenanigans from the ability to go anywhere at any time, and more like fun with it, I'm going to be a little pissed, because the best episodes of this are when we're like at some random apocalypse and they're like, or like the best parts of Rick and Morty are when they're like 5,000 years in the future and you're like, oh, the dolphin people that they mentioned, if you get to the dolphin people, you've gone way too far. Like, I love that. I like when we get some like fun with the tools you've put on the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I need to show up? I need Rachel McAdams to show up, because Rachel McAdams is loves the time travel story, and I need
that
and she's already in Doctor Strange. It would only makes more sense if she shows up in this time travel, in this time loop stuff, because
she just starts sorting it out. She's very thorough.
And it was and we'll kick it to Rachel McAdams. And it's like, who's that? It's like, oh no, it's just the girl that loves time travel.
She's just sitting with an Excel spreadsheet. She's like, I got this. Give me 15 minutes. I'll sort you all out.
But so we get that silly loop. And like you said, Adam, it's like, or one of you said that like Sif is basically driving home to like, you will always be alone. Like that, like point in time, whatever. Mobius is talking to Ravonna. And this is another point when I'm like, I did like get slightly frustrated. So I was like, okay, everyone's lying and no one's buying anyone's bullshit, but like everyone's just like lying at each other. I don't know. There was a little too much like wading the waters there. But I was glad at the end of that scene, Mobius finally was like, oh yeah, she's full of shit. Like that other guard didn't die. Like it was very obvious when she was like, okay, I'll tell you the truth. That like that truth was another lie.
Yeah.
That he just like stole her, like, what was it her temp pad or was it just like a
Which, by the way, we have the power to bend time and space infinity stones. We use those as paperweights. We don't have Face ID. Like he could just use her little pad. I was like, this is a little suspect, but fine. We've got plot armor on. Let's
Wait,
do it.
you want the time pads of 2-factor authentication?
I wanted a PIN code.
You want Ravonna to get like a text from her temp pad or time pad and be like, "Did you try to log in?
Did you let Zoom access your calendar?
Enter the 6-digit code and pick out all the bicycles in all the photos."
He's doing captchas as her.
I will say I did love the design of like the sort of like Tamagotchi like facedness of like when you can like see a video and everybody's like super digitized.
It was very like 90s. Pokedex sheet.
Right.
Yeah.
But so he steals her thing. We kind of cut back to Loki, and I don't know if anyone noticed, but he was looking good in those pants.
I noticed that fucking thick ass dump truck that showed up. I was like, listen, and I was pissed. I will tell you this. I was pissed that Tom Hiddleston got into such good shape for this because I was like, my whole thing with you is that you're like that like scrawny little fuck you guy in the back of the classroom that I would get kicked out of class for talking to, and then we would hook up or something. Like that was my whole fantasy, was like this bad boy who was kind of like scrawny, but he didn't give a shit. He's pale as fuck. And then they rip his shirt off and he's like the high school quarterback. I was pissed, but that dump truck showed up and I was like, it was all worth it.
Right.
That hair flip to the dump truck, I was like, what is happening?
Wait,
again, these are by the standards. This is also by the standards of slender white men.
I was just going to say, I was like, as someone who enjoys the dump truck, like this is like where, who?
No, I thought
for a slender white man, it was a nice showing.
Okay.
And I thought the suit was like, I'm really in. So like,
wait, can I start a rumor that Tom Hiddleston got a Brazilian butt lift?
He does that.
If he went to my doctor, he earned every dollar. I will say.
He saw Akira Davenport's guide.
I want to see like, Vox writer says Tom Hiddleston got a BBL investigation. It's like on comicbook.com.
I was gonna say that'll be one of my Facebook ads.
That's how you get Kiwi Farms and 4chan to come murder you, right?
I think that like men often don't wear well-fitting suits, and when a man is wearing like a very well-fitting like suit pants and shirt, that really does it for me because. And I want to say straight men, but I've dated a few gay.
Have you ever heard of this site called Men at Play? Because I think you might be into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I was gonna say that only straight men dress away, but I've dated a few gay men who don't know how to wear a suit either, and it like looks like a box on them. They look like a child because it's like the pants are too long and the sleeves are too long, and that like bleh, I hate it. So I think that's another thing that was working for him. And I think his hair looks nice. I know it's probably a wig. I know it's good. I don't know. I think it's been a year and a half. So anyway,
I feel like I need to rewind because like his this alleged dump truck left no impression on me.
Because he's operating within his weight class. Okay, I don't want people coming for me on Twitter and being like, that is not a thick boy. I know a thick boy, okay? I've got a nice little dumper of my own, but I'm talking about within the weight class of a Tom Hiddleston, that thing entered the room before he did, and it's in the back. Like, it was good. I will say, I do think I am really enjoying that fact that Tom Hiddleston he's not doing too much. There was a lot, like, he is a theater kid and he could easily have leaned a little too heavily into this. And even during the drunken antics on the train, he wasn't doing too much. And this week, I think he could have been very precious and very Hiddle Swift, where he would be like, I just wanted to tell you that we didn't get that. And I will commend him for not overdoing it, because it could have overpowered the Sylvia of it all. And he didn't. And it's giving that actress some space to, I don't even know her name, which is terrible. It's giving her some space to be charming and dynamic. And this could have easily been, it could have been a personality vehicle, this whole charade.
But so the thing I did also like is that B-15, I know, Adam, you didn't like her softening, but I like that she immediately believes Sylvie, and there's no like annoying, like, all right, we don't need, like, we get the plot, get going. I like that there wasn't any, she was just kind of like, all right, let's do this. Like, tell me what happened. I saw some memories, like, do the thing.
She was like, give me this existential crisis. I need it now.
Yeah. Me, I'm like, yes, take it away. Let me think I just was created by TVA.
No, I did enjoy that, like, she accessed that. And honestly, a lot of this was just me vamping and kind of running off. But I think I would have preferred, I feel like I would have preferred to see B-15 and Mobius's sort of unravelings happening just a tit slower and with more detail. Like, if we had just ended the first episode, I mean, if we had ended the Lamentus episode not on the destruction of the ship, but we had just ended a little bit later, like where the Nexus event is happening and they're touching, and then that's the cliffhanger, it would have given us a little bit more time in this one to just kind of luxuriate a little bit more in B-15's memories, or maybe Mobius's memories, or something to that sort.
I mean, you saying, oh, we didn't film that scene is really fucking funny, because that's how that felt. Because she and that actor is really good. I loved her in Lovecraft Country.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really weird, because it was like, oh, we see the little like green energy thing, and then she just makes a sad face, and then then suddenly we need to move fast.
What if what we're gonna get is a reveal next week that they're all this little pod of people, B-15, Ravonna, we've got the variant Sylvie. What if they're all tied into some central thing, and so we didn't get that reveal because we'll be opening the next episode.
We need it later. Yeah.
I mean, I want to give them some credit that they didn't hire a wonderful actress to do a touching scene and for no reason other than like filling 30 seconds. But if that ends up not coming to pass, it will absolutely have been a deleted scene, because there's no way any writer in the world wrote that down and then didn't have something.
That's true. And like, but yeah, so whatever. So she's on board. She's like, all right, let's do this. She tells B-15 that they're all variants, and I just felt very relieved. I was like, oh, thank God. We don't need 5 minutes of them arguing about it for her to believe her. I'm glad it was just like, cool, we're going to keep going. Mobius saves Loki. He gets him out. But then it's pretty immediately, right? Like they step out of those portals and Ravonna and the guards are like there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Mobius moment did like hit me a little bit, even though I had been annoyed at him most of the episode. I was like, I gasped when she was just like, all right, get rid of him. It felt very to reference a thing that I shouldn't reference, written by she who shall not be named, in Adam, help me out here, in Goblet of Fire, when it's like, kill the extra.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Spare, yeah. Not that I know what you're talking about. But it was very, like, I kept waiting actually I thought Ravonna was going to zap him when they were having their like kind of twosome in that office.
Oh yeah,
because she was. I don't know. I felt like she was very like kind of play acting at like, yeah, I'm just kind of casual. Like she definitely was like, you're asking so many questions. I thought she was just going to be like, oh yeah, one more thing, and like zapped him.
Well, what I'm surprised by is that she zapped him. I thought, at least from a show perspective, that they were really going to kill the Mobius that we know and be like, all right, well, there are stakes. You can die. Like, this is real, even if you're a variant. And then we would get some other version of Mobius from another universe or timeline or whatever. But that's I think that is clearly where they're not where they're going by the mid-credit scene where pruning doesn't really kill you. But I did like the moment of surprise because, again, there's a lot of fighting going on where everybody has a death stick that if you simply touch it, you die, and nobody was dying. Right. And I was like, in the real world, it's very unfortunate, but in the real world, when a room is full of guns, they just start going off. And people, people die. So I was, I liked that moment. I also liked the moment where I kind of liked the moment where they killed the Loki that we've been following, and it was just Sylvie left. And I was like, maybe these last 2 episodes are just Sylvie's story. That wouldn't be so bad. That would show some balls on Disney's part, but clearly that's not what we're doing.
I also thought that. I was like, oh shit, is she just the main character now? Like, even though I enjoy watching Tom Hiddleston, that would have been like a choice, and I would have liked to see. I would have been intrigued. I almost wish we didn't get that cutscene, and maybe save that for next episode. I don't know.
Yeah, let us think for a minute that she's the main character, and then it legitimizes her as one of the main characters, because right now it very much feels like she's someone who has swooped into the Loki that we're following's life and will swoop back out. And I don't like that because I really like her so far. And they did the work to make me like her because I didn't at first.
Right. Yes, I didn't at first either. But so Ravonna brings them, she, incinerates Mobius, and she brings Loki and Sylvie to meet with the Timekeepers. And I know everyone kept saying this is very Wizard of Oz, and it is. And I will say at first, my notes say like, do these Timekeepers look fucking stupid? Like,
I definitely was thinking to myself, like, the animation budget is insane, and they can't get a prop here.
Right.
It was a little prequel character design. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it because we found out they were like them being fake retroactively. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Then they look
also
stupid.
Them just sitting there with no level of protection. I was like, God, what? This is dumb. Like I was like, God, I hate this. Anyone at the TVA could have gotten pissed off and just like taken an elevator. What?
Alex, what did you think of the Timekeepers? Because I know you have written a few things about Loki. I saw some people say they think the color scheme of one of them was I don't think so. I think they're just.
Wait, what's the color scheme theory? I want to hear it.
Which is like the one, I can't remember if it was the one on the one that wasn't mustached. That one I couldn't even understand, but like, I think it was the middle one or the one on the right.
Ian's like, if you've got a hanky in your back pocket and it's blue.
But like that one had like green skin and a purple, or like bluish green skin and a purple like helmet around their head. Mm-hmm. So some people said like, oh, maybe that was supposed to be Kang. I don't buy it at all. I think they were just supposed to be throwaway nothings.
No, they're throwaway. I mean, that's very like Mephisto and the wallpaper shit.
Right, like, yes.
The prop designer being like, I can't wait till they make a thread about this one.
Yeah. Like it's very like what is it? That one short story, the yellow wallpaper, except like it's like in reverse, where we're like, yes, this version is actually like there's no. I mean, I do like I did like how silly it all was, and like the fight, and then like the weird like dual battle of like how it sets up that like, oh, it's like the last two standing are Sylvie and Ravonna, and that whole fight scene, like you're just waiting for Sylvie to grab her and be like, hey, I'm gonna enchant your mind and we're gonna figure out what's going on in there. Or that was just me. But
I agree. I was waiting for that. I was like, come on, you built up to it.
Yeah, I was like, touch this bitch like Rogue does. Like,
I will say, when B-15 came in and like threw weapons at them, I was like, yes. And when Sylvie like knocks out Ravonna and like punches her in the face, I felt very good about it.
Although I will say, I have hats off to Disney and Marvel for creating this TVA thing I had not heard of 4 episodes ago. And it was so satisfying to see one of them like turn on their own and start taking this shit down. Like it felt good. That's difficult to pull off. So good for them. Cause certainly in some of these movies, I've been like, I don't care what happens to these people.
Yes. You know what, Ryan, you're right. Because it was like fuck the TVA. This place we'd only heard of for 2 episodes.
Yeah. We should defund the TVA.
But seriously.
Episode title.
I can't even do it. What is it? ATVABs. What is it?
ATVA AB.
God.
I was bummed that B-15 is she's knocked down like immediately.
That was like very like non-triumphant. Like the super like alpha tier guard comes in to save the day and she just gets whopped really hard.
Did she get like killed or zapped or just like sort of bonked? And then
I think just bonked.
Okay.
It was a heavy bonk.
Yeah,
they were like, it'll be like it'll be the 3 gal show next episode then.
They were like, you don't have combat in your contract signed off on, so we're just gonna pop you on the head.
The flower pot fell.
She was like, here are the weapons that I need. Take them. Bonk.
Well,
honestly, same.
Went to horny jail.
They like chop the one's head off. They find out they're robots. Loki is like about to tell Sylvie something, right? He's like touching her arms. And he's about to tell her something. And I want you all to know, Ashley Smalls, she helps with social, and she was on Adam for the 2nd episode, I think, or the 1st one. She texted me a GIF of that and said, "Is this too spoilery to tweet on Friday from Slayerfest?" And I was like, "I haven't watched the episode yet."
Is this too spoilery? Like him disintegrating with the stick? Like.
But I was like, and she was like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I owe you a drink." I was like, "It's fine." I'm not that crazy about spoilers, but I was like, meh. So like the whole scene, I was just waiting for it.
Fine.
So I was like,
this is.
I will say though, I thought the reveal was I don't know why this is what I was thinking, but even though that was spoiled for me, I was like, oh, like everyone kept saying there's another reveal, which I wasn't thinking of the end credit scene. I was like, oh, that like President Loki, we keep saying, we see him in every fucking trailer with him in that green suit, and we haven't seen him yet. I was like, oh, he's going to be the one behind the TVA. That like this variant Loki is like pure chaotic evil, and he formed this out of fun because like these space lizards being robots seems like a Chuck E. Cheese gag. And I just feel like it has to be someone who's like wacky. So I was like, oh, the reveal's going to be Loki. That Loki in the green suit is going to like rise from the ashes of these cyborg lizard people, and he'll be like, haha, it was me. But then that didn't happen.
I thought he was going to say to her, I have to tell you something. I've never done this before. I'm sorry. I farted.
Ryan.
Some kind of joke or mischief or something Loki about it. But because I will agree with Adam that it was a bit of a soft moment. But I do think that there is some larger sense of humor behind it. You don't create Miss Minutes and some robot replacement time keepers and not have a sense of humor about what you're doing, right? Like it can't be. I have to think we're not going to get a reveal where it's like I'm an omniscient godhead. Like I hope that it is actually like a Loki or like what if it's I mean, it could be anybody, really. It could be Kat Dennings at this point, but like the actress. But I hope that it's something with a sense of humor, because otherwise the creators of the show had a sense of humor, but the instructions they were given did not allow for them to exercise it.
Right.
Which wouldn't be too crazy.
Yeah. You don't create robots. It's just a good point. Like if you were in this universe, the first thing you're going to make to like as your replacement people is not going to be robots. Like that's not the easiest thing to reach to.
And especially robots of like lizard people, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Alex, what do you think of the end?
I'm excited for it. I don't know. Like I want to see. I'm more excited about the Ravonna reveal that we're gonna get, or some kind of like deeper story, because I want to know. I mean, the whole fight, I was just like, I want to see her get touched. I want to see her what's happening in that head, because I just need to know what's happening. I need to know why this lady is so mean, and she killed my Owen Wilson, and she just did not want me to have a Nexus event with him. But it's like, but it's also like, what is she scheming for? Like, who is she protecting? Because clearly she knows that she knows more than everyone else.
Well, I mean, as Maya Rudolph, as Dionne Warwick once said, to what end?
What was the reason? I think, like, but also keep in mind, Ravonna could be the big bad. We were all thinking that Agatha Harkness was sort of working for some man, and she was not. She was the villain of the show. Yeah. So, like, it could just be Ravonna. There could be not a big there. Like, we're not getting.
But yeah, maybe she's just got some issues.
Right. Oh my god! Do you think she is girl bossing the timekeepers?
Yes.
No one wants to see a.
Gaslight Gatekeep, it is I think so.
Jesus Christ.
Ravonna, when she lost the first Loki, was like, I'm just gonna girl boss, like, watch out for my hustle. I'm gonna girl boss the timekeepers.
This whole thing's her side hustle.
Ravonna is giving major vibes of like head of HR, head of people, who is here to shut your shit down. Whatever complaint you're trying to escalate. She's here to neutralize
that. Is totally true.
Yeah, she is here to like nooch that.
I'm glad though, because Ravonna will be definitely a prominent Halloween costume. So that will help break up some of the gay men dressed as Wanda. Steve. And so will the Loki variants. We're gonna have a lot of Loki variants this Halloween, and I'm glad for that, because any relief from gay men in Wanda's crown is gonna be.
If I see another cigarette emoji in a Wanda Crown avatar,
I'm telling you, I won't see any of them, because if Halloween is anything like Pride was this year for me, it will just be me at home and not able to summon
Twitter,
the strength.
Though.
Yeah.
There's so many on Twitter that are just cigarette emojis in their little, like, oh, it's so exhausting.
Be nice.
They could at least put on
not to gay people, Ian. We have ethics here.
Pride is over.
Pride is over. Bye, gay.
Stop pretending to be a community now. Like, just go back to being like
vicious competitors.
Fucking Velma and Roxy. Yeah, like fucking.
It's also like if you're really gonna put like a Wanda crown on you, like, where are all the X-Men stuff? If you're a real real cigarette emoji.
Oh, yeah, where was your gender bending storm? Because I showed up in the 11th grade, bitch.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm getting big, like, straight guy trying to see if you're a real fan.
Alex is going to girl boss gatekeep and guess.
No, I am queer boss, queer light.
Queer keeping
and queer keeping. I'm queer keeping.
Jesus Christ.
Girl boss, gaslight, and time keep.
Yeah. Ooh. So anyway, the cutscene.
Ooh.
I did think that was a cool reveal. I was annoyed because I was like, oh, we're not going to see whatever it is that he's seeing. And then I was like, oh, there it is. And I knew that Richard Grant had been cast in this, but I kind of was like, is he just going to have like a 1-second character in the final episode? But instead they put him in the least flattering superhero outfit ever, which is comic accurate. And we got Kid Loki, which is a character I am very excited about.
I know you are, because you love Young Avengers.
I do love Young Avengers.
Wait, so Kid Loki is in Young Avengers then?
Yes. Okay. So in the comics, when Loki died, I'm still a little... We don't have Stephanie here or Brett to explain it all to us. But in my comic knowledge, Loki died, and I can't remember if it's after Loki had been a woman for a while. I can't remember what the timeline was there, but he died. He was because like all of the gods just get reborn, right? He died in Siege, which was a very bad crossover. And then he was reborn as a child, because it was like he was reborn. And when he was a younger, I want to say like tween, he joined Young Avengers, because him and Miss America Chavez, who was one of my favorite characters, like hated each other. They fucking hated each other. And like, that's why going into multiverse, I'm like, ooh, she's supposed to be in that. Could that like pairing get like, you know, whatever, but then they join Young Avengers together, and he becomes like basically the Loki we got at the end at the like the in Infinity War, who dies, who's like kind of still shitty but like is basically a hero. That was that Loki. And I really liked him. He was like really well written. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And then the other one I looked up, he's called like Boastful Loki, and he's not based on any, apparently as of now, not based on any comic book version of Loki. And as Ryan pointed out, the alligator, well, that's just an alligator in a Loki crown.
Croaky, as I keep calling him. We stand.
Isn't that a Simpsons bit, Ada, where it's like, and that's just that, enjoy it. Where it's like a picture, yeah. What do we all feel about? What do we all feel about that cutscene?
But doesn't it point to like a different world of like, well, this is where everything that got pruned went, and so it's like.
I thought it looked like destroyed New York because there's a Avengers Tower in the background. Mm-hmm. And so my immediate thought was like, this is the universe where Loki won, and they stuck all the Lokis who are meant to always lose into a universe where they won, and it's horrible. And they learned that they learned the error of their ways, which was to not have a goal. We always have to have a goal. And I think.
Well, do you think
in any event we're gonna have fun? This is gonna be fun. This is what I want. This is what I wanted.
Do you think this is where we're gonna get President Loki?
Yes, absolutely, I do.
He's running for president of the Lokis. That's the twist.
Or he's already president. Who knows? But yeah, I think the next episode we will get him. I still keep going with like when Loki got incinerated, and I still was thinking, oh, pruning meant death. And I was thinking that like that Loki was going to take over. I keep wondering if we're going to encounter like the ultimate villain Lokis, and that's how Tom Hiddleston's Loki will kind of die and be replaced with Kid Loki or something of that sort. Because I could see them doing that. Although I don't know. I just feel like Tom Hiddleston is such a draw that maybe they wouldn't want to kill him. What do you guys think?
Am I wrong? Isn't there a second season already sort of booked for Loki?
Yes.
Okay. So at least that much.
At least my whole thing with the multiverse is my hope is what I've been saying, what I want from DC Comics since the dawn of time is to just be fucking weird. Like they should lean into the Harley Quinn TV show of it all and more into the like, even that fucking Joker movie that I didn't like, lean into doing weird one-shots and strange, like, you know, Gotham by Gaslight stuff, because Marvel's got this whole centralized universe that's all pinned and buttoned up and everything is always perfect. So be a mess, and that could be your strategy. Be the Kesha to Marvel's Lady Gaga. But instead, what we're getting is DC is now trying to button its shit up and get it together. And Marvel's like, ooh, we can have a little fun. So I like the idea of a Loki series that follows a Loki that isn't the Loki Prime or main Loki. And it's not even the main Loki to the other stories. Like, I like the idea of like there being some like weirdness to the universes where like, you know, we've got two Spider-Mans. Look, Tobey Maguire's back. He's just, he's going to be Spider-Man for the whole world. And, you know, Tom Holland will be Spider-Man for New York, and they'll have to make it work the way that they do in the comics. There's a fun element to comics. Like, I think I said this during the WandaVision thing too, which is like, we're in a universe where anything can happen. You have created a universe with magic, with sci-fi, with multiple dimensions, with time travel. Make it interesting. Do not use all of that stuff just to get back to there's only one Loki, and he's not very interesting.
You know, and I have to mention this because in Brett's review, I hadn't even like realized this. Mobius casually mentions, oh, we've captured Skrulls, Titans, and vampires. They're definitely like, I think they are leaning into the weird, because like the fact that he like specifically said vampires exist in that universe, which we know they're developing Blade, but like, you know, in that universe, we haven't encountered anything.
Disney owns Buffy.
I mean,
they love touching non-controversial hot properties. They love it. This is exactly the right time to put Buffy into that space.
Shut the fuck up.
The world is ready for the discourse. Yeah.
You know what we were saying about gay people?
Hold on, let me get my Wanda crown on. Piss everybody.
Change your avatar.
You're all mean girls.
I mean, what I do think and what I really like about this show is the whole like emotional, as campy and as fun and as weird as it gets. I do like the whole idea that this is a guy that like basically is not allowed to be like is told that he's not like the preferred version of himself, and he's been dealing with it the entire time. And now it's just like you're in a whole. I like love the idea of this whole world of flops, like we called it, like this whole flop era of flops.
And just being like,
well, I love the idea that they're not necessarily flops. That I like that. Yes, I agree with what you're saying, but I also hope that it goes to a world where it's like, no, I'm not flop. I'm just gay. You know what I mean? Like everybody realize that like just because you're not the one your dad would have picked out of a catalog doesn't mean you're not the better version. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's what we're getting with the Sylvie thing is like Sylvie is a way more effective agent of chaos, it seems, than Loki has ever been, at least the Loki that we knew. So like, why is she the variant? Like I would like at the end for Crocodile Loki to be like, I am main character Loki. Go fuck yourself. You're all supposed to be crocodiles. It's fucking weird. That's what I would prefer. I'm serious because it is weirder, but it also is more emotionally true to what they're going for, as opposed to if we just get to meet these wacky people and then all the Lokis die and it's just Loki Prime in the regular universe and we know the multiverse exists and that's the end of the series. I'm going to be like, go fuck yourself. Why did you waste my time?
And now for a quick break. Folks, do you love movies? The good ones? Even the bad ones everyone told you not to like? It sounds like Super Yaki is the place for you. The team at Super Yaki loves movies. So much so, they've dedicated every waking moment of their life to bringing you top quality merchandise to showcase your love for them. From super soft t-shirts celebrating the 20th anniversary of the cinematic masterpiece Josie and the Pussycats, to comfy sweatshirts made for the brave members of the Movies by Yourself Club. They even have pins of some of your favorite directors, like Sofia Coppola and Jordan Peele. Super Yaki joyously brings you tangible love letters to movies and filmmakers that you can wear with pride. Plus, the team at Super Yaki screen prints all their apparel using eco-friendly, 100% water-based inks, and ships with compostable poly mailers for an environmentally friendly alternative to online shopping. And as a special gift to you, listeners can save 10% on their order with the code SUPERSlayerFest, all caps, no spaces, at checkout. If the spirit moves you, find them at superyaki.com. Let's watch more movies, y'all. Now that we're at the end here, favorite scene, Alex?
I mean, clearly the dump truck scene was lost on me. I need to go back and watch it and see if there is.
You didn't see that part where he knocked over a plant with his huge wagon?
I need the little truck beeping sign.
The multiverse apart.
I want to see. We deserve to see Big Wagon Loki in that.
I hate all of you.
I need to see Big Wagon. Yes, I need the Loki Big Wagon variant.
Right. High school gym teacher wagon Loki. No.
So again, Alex, what was your favorite scene?
I think my favorite scene was when they're about to die and they hold hands, because that's what you do when you're about to die on a bisexually lit planet.
Adam?
My favorite scene was probably... I mean, like, they all were, like, very pleasing scenes. I think I really, really, really dug, like, the Timekeeper's, like, final boss, final level, final dungeon kind of feeling where it was, like, stuff happening real fast. And that we were finally in a battle, and I was just so relieved they didn't cut to credits, kind of like they did last time, which was, like, the apex of a climactic moment. And that we did get, like, a real cool way to end it, which is like Loki going away, Loki that we know going away, and then kind of stuck with the like a Sylvie Ravona on the enemies shackled together moment. It made me very excited for what came next.
Yes, you know what? Me too. Yeah, I am. I like this was one of the first times when I was like, no, but I want the next episode. Like right away. Ryan, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was when they were in the elevator and she was like, what was my nexus? And Ravonna said, I don't remember, because I loved the ambiguity of your Pennsylvania accent is coming out of me. The ambiguity of New Jersey, whatever it is. It's one of the states that's not New York. That
just say Mayor of Easttown. It's fine.
I liked that scene because I liked that there was the ambiguity of, does she remember and she's not going to tell her because she's cruel, or does she not remember and that is also so cruel?
Yeah.
I thought that was sweet, and it gave Sylvie depth and a reason to be angry that I was, going along with, but I didn't really see the level of anger. Like, why are you so calm the fuck down? It made me be like, yeah, this bitch deserves answers. And I loved that we got the payoff of just do it, just prune me. And she was like, I'm not that stupid. I loved that. So I hope that she enchants her and we spend the whole next episode in Ravonna's head finding out all the things we don't know.
Here's my final thought on Ravonna, because I think I'm like, it came off cruel, but I feel like I see Ravonna as a very online person who's like, she's seen all different timelines. She's seen the end of time. She's seen this. She's seen that. Like, her being asked, like, what was the reason you plucked me out, was like me being asked, what was that young adult book Twitter argument about 3 months ago? I'd be like, I do 7 million things since then. I don't know.
She's like, I'm irony poisoned, okay? I follow the whole the whole it's Red Scare. I'm on my 15th controversy of the day.
Right. She's like, I've seen where climate change goes. I've seen where all the shit goes. I'm pretty crusty to all of this. I don't really remember the exact little thing you did. I know it's a lot too, but like,
your
I'm
little
really
life. I'm supposed to remember that. Well, so my favorite scene, I didn't write down a favorite scene in my notes. I'll have you all know I'm doing this off the cuff. I think it might have been, what would it have been, Adam?
I mean, I listen to, like, I think you're always for like gal battles. So like, I feel like the endings, I think your favorite scene is my favorite scene. I think it was when it finally, I think when B-15 came in there, got things started.
Yeah.
Clickety clack, off go those collars.
See, this is why I asked Adam. It was a joke, but I was serious because I knew Adam would know.
No, because I do know. Yeah, I was like, I know what's waking Ian up here, and it's always like, when
like
it's when the like Australian stunt doubles step in wearing the clothes.
But yeah, that was my favorite scene. What grade do you give this episode, Ryan?
A B-52. No, I give this episode a solid B+. I think it was a lot of fun, and it had a good twists and nice moments, but there's room for improvement. I'm not going to be telling people like, study this for your pilot or whatever.
Alex?
I would say A-. I liked it.
Okay. Adam?
A-. I really like it like did a lot of really cool stuff. It's kind of one of those things where like I'm like, that's not the pacing I would have gone with. I would have like maybe like doled it out a little bit more. But like Ryan said, like it is very comic booky. Like this is the assignment, to use an overused online term.
No, but you're right. And I think I'd give it. I think I'm on the cusp between B+ and A-. So I'm just gonna
come to the dark side.
I think it's gonna have to rely on where we go from here. If this is a thing where, because all the other Marvel shows kind of hit this 2/3 point where it was like, it is on, and then the flop era final episode where there's like, it's like, we need to like really quickly make this normal.
It's like, game on, bitch, remix. We're doing this. It's happening. Like Everybody Walker, out of the way.
Right. John Walker has smashed his face in, girl. There are consequences coming. Things are making... Yeah, and then it was...
Oop, no consequences.
Not exactly that. Right.
Sorry,
oh my God, I love if it was like remix, remaster. We're going to do it. Ben Platt sings.
No. If ever there was like...
The final 2 episodes is Ben Platt does standards. while all the Lokis like politely clap and fall asleep.
Right.
I politely clap.
He's a Loki that has like, like every time he speaks, like the lights all go out and then a spotlight goes on him.
He's a low-key Loki. And on that note, let's go.
He's the Loki with he rolls in with like a Loki crown and a broken arm.
If ever there was a cigarette emoji who did not have a good June.
Anyway, all right, we're gonna end this.
I would still fuck him.
Ryan. I mean, same though. Anyway, so thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for listening. Shut up. We're gonna keep going, Adam. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and other corners of the internet. You can subscribe to our Patreon, where you get access to me and Zach's sex talk video series, My Nudie Judy, all the Slayerfest 98 bonus episodes. We are currently going through Harley Quinn, and our private Facebook group, monthly Patreon Zooms, and more. And if you want to follow us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. If you want to follow me, I am at ENXCarlos. Alex, where can everyone find you?
I'm at Vox, but I'm also going to be searching the multiverse for Tom Hiddleston's dump truck butt.
I'm never going to live this down. I specified by weight class.
Ryan, where can everyone find you?
I'm at Ryan Houlihan, ever on the internet. You're an adult, you know how to find me. And go to inputmag.com. There's going to be something on it you think is interesting, and pay me.
Adam, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Adam Sass, and you can buy my award-winning debut young adult novels, To Rent Your Sons, at adamsassbooks.com, wherever you buy your books. And stay tuned to books coming out next year.
Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.